And welcome to our debut report of 2014. Guys, hard to believe, but this is our first game covering the Bobcats. It seemed like they've been gone forever, but they're back tonight. But I'm the coach, Dick Cox, joined by Dustin Phifer. Big win for the Bobcats tonight. A team that they had beaten earlier this year, New York, a team that is healthy and had won 5 in a row. But the Bobcats got back a key player, MKG, tonight, and his energy gave them a lift, and they set out early and went rolling for the whole game.
Yeah, what a great performance by the Bobcats. You know, they've lost 8 of 9. Coach, they've kind of hit, a point in the season where they're struggling and, starting to slip away out of that playoff spot. So to see them come out here at home where they've struggled and play a good game against, you talked about it, a New York Knicks team who's won 5 in a row, playing some of the best basketball in the NBA, beat the Heat last week. So they've really been playing some good basketball. Melo's been playing well. We saw it tonight. Amari Stoudemire playing some of the best basketball of the season for the Knicks. But the Bobcats controlled this game from the start. They got down a little bit in the second quarter, but were able to push it to a 9-point halftime lead and held the lead for the entire second half, led by their free agent signing. People, were waiting to see this breakout game. He's played well, but this is the breakout game for Al Jefferson. 35 points and a great win for this Bobcats team tonight.
And I believe that with 35 points is the most ever by a Bobcats post player.
Most ever by a Bobcats post player. Got to give a little shout out to our friend Colin there who got that stat for us. But, you think about being in the league since 2004, Coach, and this is the first time ever that a post player scored 35 points. That's hard to believe for an NBA team, but that's kind of how it's been down there. So it's good to have a guy like Al Jefferson now.
Well, Dustin, I think they were really needing to get back MKG. They had gone about as long as they could when they lost him and Jeffrey Taylor both. That give Coach credit. He tried to plug in a lot of different guys. He had a D-League player he plugged in, having to start and done that. And I think that the effect had worn off, and like you said, they had lost 8 out of 9 ball games, but now, came back tonight with the original starting 5 who started the season, and they looked like they were playing like they did early in the season. Just wish we had Jeffrey Taylor back to give them that off the bench, though. But they look like the Bobcats we saw early in the season the way they played tonight.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head, Coach. I don't think enough people talked about the injury to Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and you're right. It was even, enhanced more when we lost Jeffrey Taylor for the season and you're down both of your top 2 small forwards. You have to think about it. When you think about NBA basketball, the premier scorers in the league, the superstars like a Carmelo Anthony, a Kevin Durant, a LeBron James at times, they all play small forward. So that's where you got to have those guys not only to play offense but to mainly play defense. And, all this talk about MKG being the number 2 pick, he can't shoot, is he going to live up to the pick? The thing about it is Coach Clifford hit a nail on the head, and we don't talk about it enough. You have to talk about what he brings on the floor. Forget about how ugly his shot is, and it is rough. We've talked about it. But think about what he brings. He brings defensive intensity. He brings energy all over the floor. He cuts to the basket on the offensive end, can help move the ball. So those kind of things help a basketball team like this when you're trying to improve your offense and defense. And you get a guy like that back tonight who really plays with energy. The Bobcats have really been struggling on the defensive end, Coach. We talked about it the last 3 weeks, getting blown out a couple times on the road, giving up over 100 points, and to have that guy back tonight, I don't think we can really talk about how big of an impact it is, because honestly people push it to the side because he can't score, but as a coach what he can bring as far as the little things on the floor.
Well, we saw that early in the game tonight. With the energy he brought starting the game, taking to the ball to the basket with his athleticism, he ain't gonna make some of those shots, but when he loses his man, somebody else has to switch and pick him over on help D. He's able to dish it, and then the Al Jeffersons, the players like that, get the easy looks inside, or maybe the extra pass to Henderson, who gets it to one of them, and it creates more offensive easy opportunities. That's why you saw, I think the Bobcats tonight had 6 3-point shots, were able to do a lot of things they weren't able to do, though. But he puts pressure on the defense, and not necessarily to score 25 a game, but just to cover him, stop his penetration, and I think that was one of the biggest things I noticed tonight.
Right, you're exactly right. And then you flip to the defensive end, and he comes out and he ties the team lead with 7 rebounds. He helps you rebound the ball. He comes out in his first game back after missing 4 or 5 weeks. A tough assignment when you haven't been out here playing and have your energy and stamina. He comes out here and guards a guy like Carmelo Anthony, who's been hot and who's one of the best scorers in the NBA. Helps hold him, of course, with the team defense, but helps hold him to 9 of 22 shooting for 20 points. So more shots than points. You got to think about how much of an impact that is. And Al Jefferson said it tonight. It was kind of a funny quote. We talked to him in the locker room, Coach. He said, I asked him how big of an impact does MKG have on the defensive end, and he goes, well, I don't want to say because I don't want to blow up his head, but he's the main reason that our defense has slacked off, because he wasn't out there. And Al Jefferson said, this guy guy is the captain of our defense, and you saw that tonight on the floor. Good win, good way to hold the Knicks to a bad shooting night, and hopefully they can take this momentum and carry it on.
Well, I was kidding with you about the bench production was down tonight. The reason why, because the big three combined for 77 points tonight. That's Jefferson, Walker, and Henderson. Complemented each other, and between the three of them, 77 on the board. There's not going to be a whole lot of points available for anybody else.
Definitely. I mean, and really the two guys that really did it out of those big three were Al Jefferson, like we talked about, and Kemba Walker. There was a time in the third quarter there where the Knicks were making their run to get back in the game, and Kemba Walker hits 2 straight big threes to push that lead back to double digits. And then what more can we say about Al Jefferson? Get it to him in a post, let him go to work. The guy that he talked about after the game is not even 100% coach, but he's out here putting old school post-up moves on guys, killing them with pump fakes. We saw it a couple times where guys were jumping out of their shoes, and he's just right to the basket for an easy layup or an easy jump shot. The guy is one of the most skilled offensive big men in the NBA, and for NBA fans who don't watch it up closely, you need to watch this guy play a little more, and that is why the Bobcats signed him, because of what he can bring to you on any given night.
Your ignorant NBA fans are going to look at this game and say, the Knicks are having a bad year this year and all. Well, the Knicks are healthy now. When we played them earlier in the year, they had some guys that were injured and out and not playing, though, but they had reeled off 5 straight wins. They are healthy, and you've got to look. I was kidding about that, old men out there on the floor, but they've got some big – older veteran players that know how to play the game. They know their limitations and know how to still be productive.
Definitely, and like I said, they've been playing some of the best basketball in the NBA this year. And when you have a guy like Melo playing good basketball, you get Raymond Felton back from an injury, former Bobcat, which we talked about, and then you have a guy like Amari Stoudemire, who was really looked terrible. We didn't even know if he should be on the floor at the start of the year, Coach, with his bad knees. He didn't look like he was in shape. Well, now here he is, dunking on people tonight at the end of the third quarter, putting up 17 points, knocking down mid-range jump shots. That is a huge asset for the Knicks. So they were in here playing good ball on a 5-game win streak. So I think Coach Clifford said it tonight that this is one of the best wins of the season for this young Bobcats team. I
thought the key was Bobcats started early, played well, but inspired by Stoudemire and a couple of others, the Knicks make a run for halftime and actually took a 5-point lead. And then the Bobcats in the last 5 minutes regrouped, went on a lead, and actually pushed it as high from 5 down up to a 12-point lead. And that's a lead that they never looked back on. They held the whole second half.
And that's good. I mean, Coach, how many times have we watched some home games this year? Really, the Bobcats have struggled more at home than they have on the road. They've played better basketball on the road. So they, usually at home they maybe get off to a quick start, and then they let the game slip away from them, and they try to catch back up at the end, and they can't do it. And that had to be frustrating for us watching here at home and the home fans. But tonight, to see them come out here, get a good start, and then get behind by a couple, you were thinking, oh no, here we go again. But they really put the pressure on the Knicks. They really played good offense. You talked about the ball movement. I think the ball movement was some of the best we've seen all season by them. And then again, they turned up their defense. And to see them put this kind of performance on a home against a quality team like the Knicks, who's a playoff team year in, year out, is good to see. And I think they really can take this and build some momentum. They got a back-to-back tomorrow night in Philadelphia. But I think this is where the Bobcats can maybe get on a little stretch here now that they got MKG back and they've got some confidence.
Could really be big if they could find a way to go to Philadelphia, get it done tomorrow night. Then coming back home, they've got the hated Heat coming in here, my least favorite team of the NBA. Would love to see them build momentum and take it to them. I would love to see a packed house, which I think we're going to see, of fans that actually come in here yelling for the Bobcats. I'm sick of seeing visiting teams come in here yelling like we had Knicks people here tonight dressed in those. I want to see the Bobcat people turn out here tonight and be loud and rowdy, and would love to see them be rewarded with a win on Saturday.
I would love to see a pro Bobcats crowd. You're right, they had some Knicks fans here, but those fans went home quiet. And, it seems to where the Knicks fans, the Heat fans, they come out to the game, but as the Bobcats continue to show that they can play with these teams and they play close at the end, a lot of them turn to Bobcats fans. So that's good to see. So like you said, Coach, we're going to have a packed house on Saturday night. We would love for it to be mainly Bobcats fans. We know there's going to be some of those Heat fans in the house that travel and come out and want to see LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. But let's get most of the Bobcats fans in here. And hey, there's also another special thing going on Saturday night, Coach. We talked about it during the game. It's not just a primetime basketball game with the defending champions against your Bobcats. That's also the release of when they're going to start selling some Charlotte Hornets gear. So you've got a lot of excitement to be able to come out to the arena on Saturday night to see a basketball team who's playing better and to get a look at that new Charlotte Hornets gear. So, man, it's going to be fun on Saturday night.
Well, when I went to the department store and they start flashing the lights, that usually tells me it's closing time. So I guess it's time for us to wrap it up. Good to be back with you 2014 with our first recap, though. He's Dustin Phifer. I'm Dick Cox. We will be here Saturday night to see if the heat is on or the heat is off. Until then, have a good week, everybody.